My name is Dundrup. I'm the SPC here at Tupton Norberling, and I just briefly wanted to introduce everyone to Charok Lama for the second course that we've had recently. This course will run through the Thursdays in July, and then we're lucky enough to have one more monthly course with Rinpoche in August before he's going to be doing some traveling. So then we will have to see how quickly we can get Rinpoche back after his travels. We will work on that and see what is possible after his travels. Rinpoche is a truly amazing teacher that we've had the good fortune to have courses with this year. And we are very much looking forward to years and years of courses with Rinpoche. We hope to have Rinpoche back in our physical center in the spring. Fingers crossed, as Shayla is indicating. But until then, we've got Rinpoche here with us in our virtual Gompa. So thank you so much, Rinpoche, for offering another course with us. So thank you. Over to you.
Sorry, the internet just went off for a while. Okay. Hmm. Um, Thank you so much, Venerable Dudubla. Okay, so uh, I think this course will go a little bit more deeper into Buddhism. I think more philosophical, but then also I think the application important. We'll concentrate mainly on the application of the uh, of the practices on the path towards, well, if not enlightenment, then becoming a bodhisattva, I think. So as we always say, generally, practice begins with mindset, motivation, and through the motivation, then what happens is the application of practices start to happen, and through the application, then we start to see results. So I think this is an important method that not just in practice of Buddhism, but in practice of anything that we want to what we say excel in, we start with the motivation. So in Dharma, the greatest motivation always enlightenment. And the motivation of enlightenment is not what we say not subjected towards me or I or the my, in the concept that it's not subjected to the idea towards I want to become enlightened. Enlightenment always comes in the form and is always supported by the thought of bodhicitta, or the wish to enlighten, wish to help others be liberated from samsara. So if enlightenment, if there is a strong wish towards enlightenment and that enlightenment is triggered by the grasping attitude, then a little bit harder to become enlightened. Yeah, just keep that in mind. Okay, with this, Sangye Chedan Zoge Zonam La Chanjo Vado Danya Gyapsanje Dagezi Zoye Besona Dola Binje Sangye Do Bajo Sangye Chedan Zoge Zonam La Chanjo Vado Danya Gyapsanje Dagezi Zoye Besona Dola Binje Sangye Do Bajo Sangye Chedan Zoge Zonam La Chanjo Vado Danya Gyapsanje So with these four stanzas, I think um, the same thing with the motivation. Sangye Chodon Soge Chonamla, wanting to achieve, or what you say, using all the accumulations of the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. Main idea behind this motivation is to liberate all sentient beings, to dedicate all of our merit until that we have created until now towards what we say, towards the helping all sentient beings liberated from samsara. So so I think there are practicality in Buddhism. Practicality in the last session, one of the practicality I think I mentioned in the last session is that if you are a Buddha, then you think like a Buddha. If you are a Bodhisattva, then you think like a Bodhisattva. And if you are a mere human being, then you think like a human being. And if we are mere animals, then we think as animals. If we are health beings, then we think uh, from a health being perspective. Yeah. So I think this is practicality. So in practicality, other than practicality, in the whole concept of bodhisattva, sort of like a brief understanding would be that the motivation of bodhicitta is or what we say triggered by the strong understanding of renunciation. And the trigger towards renunciation, what triggers the concept of, or the motivation of renunciation, or the concept of renunciation, or even wanting to renounce, is suffering. So through understanding samsara, what do we say, a clear understanding of samsara and a clear wish to be liberated from samsara, and then once you figure out the methods to be liberated from samsara, then using those methods to be liberated from samsara, not just from ourselves but for all sentient beings. I think this is the main what do we say, main source of the concept of bodhicitta, right? So I think this one practical part of real practitioner, or a practitioner on the path to bodhicitta. So I think this one, just as a opening uh, motivation sort of thing that we all need to have if we are truly interested in the concept of enlightenment and in the concept of bodhicitta. Then we need to know that the concept of enlightenment and bodhicitta is only triggered or only supported by a strong urge, wish, a strong, what we say, uh, uh, um, effort towards wanting to liberate others from the core existence of samsara. So um, and then once we have that motivation, then we need to figure out, okay, what kind of practices do we need on this path towards wanting to liberate others, because liberating others is not easy. Forget about liberating, is a huge responsibility, as I say, right? Forget about liberating, even what we say, even taking responsibility for others is very hard. And I think most of you as parents, if you are parents, then you would know what kind of responsibilities you have just taking care of one or two people. And then if you have people, if you are taking care of more than two people, then you know the responsibilities, right? For most people, their whole life, they dedicate their whole life in order to help someone else. And this is the power of, I think, compassion, right? So it's not easy, but then once you have that right motivation, once you have the right settings, once you have the right qualities, mind qualities, mental qualities, then the journey becomes smooth. The journey becomes, once it starts with a lot of learning. It starts with a lot of learning and a lot of achieving and so on and so forth. And then a lot of practices come on the path. And then once you have achieved, once your kid has grown up and is a great person now, and then there's great joy as well, right? And that joy sort of like sticks with us for a very long time as well. So quite similar. I think towards an example that we can experience or we experience in our daily life is quite similar to that. So I think the focus mainly on that, and then through that, I think mainly it's the main focus of the practice is on the journey. It's not at the beginning, it's not at the end, it's throughout the journey. And the reason I say this is because throughout the journey, we learn a lot of things, right? We learn how to cooperate with people. We learn how to utilize certain methods and means. We learn to control our emotions, thoughts. We learn what is more valuable than others. Before you are a parent, most likely it's all about other things, partying, enjoying, making money, taking care of your mother and father, so on and so forth. But then once you have kids, then then your whole goal starts to change. The main focus is kids. And then also, even then also, I think the focus changes, and then not just the kids, but also the requirements for the kids. So we focus on that, and then the practice starts to happen. So similarly, once the motivation is right towards liberating, towards understanding renunciation and bodhicitta, then and finding out that the only way or the main way or the fastest way to achieve enlightenment is through others. So then you need the right motivation, you need the right thought, you need all the right settings, and therefore I think this is where this course comes into place, which is the 10 parameters. So this is on a practical Buddhist theoretical level. Now, generally, as human beings, uh, we need to be, we need to learn a lot of qualities. We need to develop a lot of qualities just to, I think, just to exist on this planet with others. First is existing, coexisting. Unless we are able to coexist, then our motivation towards liberating who we need to coexist with, it becomes harder, right? So, so the first concept, the first goal is to coexist with everyone that we need to liberate. Coexisting with the not just the human beings but also the animals, coexisting with with all kinds of different animals such as mosquitoes and bed bugs and cockroaches and so on and so forth. So, if you cannot coexist, then development of true bodhicitta or true enlightenment, wanting to liberate others, very hard. So first, let's integrate coexistence through the practice of what we call the I think the main focus would be the six parameters in regards to this course. So first concept, coexisting. Yeah. So with this, or with whichever value you have, you can set your motivations, and then through this motivation, we can start. So I'll briefly go through Venerable Tundup's course that he created. Um, just to get I think, a brief idea. I'm sure all of you have read it, but just to get a brief idea. So in the what we say in Buddhism generally, just like I explained, the concept goes much deeper and is also not very easy to apply if the motivations and if the goals are not in tuned or right. And it's not just the goal and the motivation, it's also the mindset, right? So if the mindset is also not right, then harder to apply in the sense of philosophy. But if the motivation and the goals and the mindset is right, we say, right, we are talking last course, we are talking about cause and condition. It's not just one cause that creates, is a whole different condition. It's many causes. Just like a field, yeah, you want to grow corn on the field, it's easier. You want to grow I don't know what is hard to grow, cherry or something like that, maybe grapes. Then it's a little bit harder because now you need the right kind of soil, you need the right kind of weather, you need the right amount of water, so on and so forth. And so, as what we say, development, certain types of development, the harder the development, the more conditions need to be right. So this is why creating the right conditions is extremely important. Through these conditions, what we can do is we can develop, like I said, if you cannot focus on, if the motivation doesn't come, you think about your enemies, and your mind is going, this person is horrible. Why should I want to liberate this person? If your mind goes like this, then you know, okay, maybe not the right time to focus on liberating that person. Maybe better to focus on coexisting with that person, right? So this is, I think, the value of practice in different ways. So I think we start through that. And in this 5 week course, main skills, I think here we have promoted learning to transform everyday challenges into opportunities for growth and connection. And this one comes by understanding, mostly already done in the last course. So, understanding your own mind, understanding your own concept, understanding your own behavior, understanding, challenging your own thoughts and behaviors in regards to how you want to develop certain. Sorry, there's an airplane flying over. So the challenge is between how you want and what is the right means and the methods. Yeah. In the sense of mental development. So I think that is there. And then develop greater resilience in high stress situations like traffic jams, difficult conversations, and workplace conflicts. This is our normal things that we need to work over. So one thing, especially now happening, is that because our reliance on what we say on unethical, un what do we say, unethical and illogical means is very high. For example, alcohol, right? If you take alcohol in order to have fun or take some time off, relax, then it's okay. Uh, Most of you might have taken the Bodhisattva vow and all of that, then maybe not okay. But generally, if you haven't, then it's okay. But when you are stressed, when you have a conflict, when there's mental pressure, and then you start taking alcohol, then you don't drink with your friends, you drink alone, and then you're ashamed of drinking, but then that drinking sort of takes your mind away from all these problems, and then slowly you build a habit towards that drinking, and then everything starts to go worse and worse and worse and worse from there. So the motivation, again, important. The development of how you want to deal with certain what do we say, certain situations such as these also depend a lot on the mindset and the motivation that we have, right? The thought process that we have. So that is also something that we'll work through, especially in the sense of ethical livings, patience, joyful effort, so on and so forth. Um, and then we also have create sustainable approach to helping others without burning or losing us. I think this has a lot to do with learning how to balance, which also I think we covered in our last session. But we'll go a little bit deeper into it this time, especially in regards to um, uh, what do we say, application of patience, right? Um, I think last time I mentioned also that patience is again a method, a very valuable tool, mental tool to measure balance in our life. So that one also make discovery, well, not make decisions that align with our deepest value, even when facing pressure and uncertainty. Yeah, so this one again set up with the motivation, and then also I think wisdom. So this comes so wisdom. So this comes this quality mainly comes through the application of wisdoms. Wisdom. Build general confidence, genuine confidence that comes from inner clarity rather than external validation. This one I think we will focus a lot on because what we say, modern world external validation is so important, especially once social media became a thing. I think I'm not sure because I was born in this era, but I think in the earlier eras before social media and mobile phone, I think the competitiveness or the validation, external validation, a little bit less. I think maybe others can confirm this. I don't know for sure, but then I think this is another. There I got a thumbs up. So so I think this is a thing that we really need to not just our generation, not just generation before us, but also I think mainly focusing on the future generation. I think this is a very important thing that we need to understand logically, not just logically, but philosophically, not just philosophically, but conceptually as well. That these things, the emphasis on this is not as important as social media and all of these things make. As we all know, the concept of business, you use uh, people's emotions in order to best tool to make money is through people's emotions. So we have to understand how to deal with these things, especially external validation, in order to uh, proceed in this life through a clear conscience and also through a clear validation of oneself. So inner validation much more important, similar to how I mentioned in the last course that practice is not externally validated, and this happens a lot also as practitioners. I'm sure if you're in the center, if you're anywhere, a lot of the validation is done through external means, and this is why promotion of, oh yeah, I've done this and I've done that, and I have 10 gurus and I have 100 gurus and I've done 100,000 million days and 100,000 billion that. uh, these tend to give people validation, but in reality practice has nothing to do with that. No, inner practice is inner, no one can see. No matter how hard I try to see your inner practice, very hard to really, what do we say, pinpoint down your inner practice. The inner practice is validation all by yourself, not reliant on others. So it's also, I think, one of the more important parts. Then relationship and communication enhancement, listening with full presence in distracted world, radical improvement in quality of our connection, respond rather than react with trigger, maintaining our integrity while staying open-hearted, set boundaries that protect your well-being with preserving important relationships. So these all I think come in regards to value. Ethical means ethical living, right? Especially in regards to application of wisdom combined with ethical living. So yeah, this then sustainable well-being practices, design meditation, mindful practice that are actually scheduled and living situations, balance achievement and rest in ways that increase rather than deplete our energy over time, finding means and purpose in ordinary daily activities, from coming to household chores, development inner resource for healing, uncertainty, loss, and major life transitions. uh, this topic is this topic is, I think, again, mainly understood through understanding yourself. So similar to what we did in the last course, I think we always start, no matter what practice. Yeah, today we are learning meditation, design meditation, and mindfulness practice. So mindfulness, what is it? 101, is it? Mindfulness 101. The main concept behind mindfulness is always consideration for yourself. So even when it comes to the path of Bodhisattva or the Bodhicitta practice, always start. I think a lot of people promote it in the sense that, oh, you need to let go of everything. You need to let go of the self-grasping attitude. You need to let go of the self-confidence. You need to let go of this. You need to let go of that. It's all promoted through letting go. But then there's also a lot of embracing that you need to do. And I think the first practice in regards to this, um, what do we say, meditation, mindfulness practice is it starts with embracing. And the main thing to embrace is to embrace yourself. Yeah. So motivation set concept, mainly we are focusing on development. We are focusing on the development of the mind. We are focusing on the development of character. We are focusing on development of practice. So these three things, development of these three things. When it comes to the development of the mind, we are focusing on development of the mind in the sense of what we say qualities, and this is where the six paramitas or the six perfection qualities, perfection or qualities comes into play. So that's one focus. Development of character, I think a lot of that would be done through awareness and mindfulness, because character is built throughout time, right? And that also through the practice of consistency, application of consistency. So that one also uh, through the application of the mindfulness practice in regards to the 6 paramitas. There are 10 paramitas and 6 paramitas. So today we focus on the 6 paramitas, but I'll also briefly go through Tap Top Molam Ishi. Tap method, Top strength, Molam is prayer, and Ishi is wisdom. So we also apply these for or the path. So we also apply these for combined together with the 6 paramitas. And then comes practice. Development of practice, like I said, always starts with motivation, right? So uh, I'm not going to validate any kind of motivation. The motivation you need to set up. You have your own motivation, like I said, depending on where your mind is, where your skill set is, where your problems are, where your mind, what we say, situation is. So based on that, then motivation develops easier. So we're always looking for easier ways and easier means, right? So this, I think, would be the easiest point of start. If you're truly inspired by the teachings, by the 84,000 teachings of the Buddha, and that inspiration becomes your what we say, your source of development of your goal, then of course we later on we can go deeper into practice. I think this is beginner's journey, so we're focusing on beginner, but as we move forward we will go deeper into all of that, uh, especially in regards to development of the three principal aspects of the path, right? So that is that. So in regards to motivation, like I said, motivation of your practice, like I said, reliance on yourself is important. So balance, what we say, developing was a daily meditation or daily motivation, that one in accordance with mindfulness practice. Let's set that up first. Yeah. You ask yourself, main question to ask yourself, what is it that you want to achieve? Is it you want to achieve enlightenment, or is it you want to achieve peace, or is it you want to achievement skills, coordination skills? So these different, right? And every aspect has a different method as well. So I think setting this level of goals is important. So this is the question you ask yourself: what is it that you want to develop? Um, if it comes to the point where you are saying, oh, I really want to achieve enlightenment, not just through, oh, may I achieve enlightenment for the all benefit of all sentient beings. Not if it's just merely words, then it's a different, it's something you really need to start thinking about. But if it is really, as I call it, the fire burning inside you, like, yes, I really want to achieve enlightenment for all sentient beings, then the next question would be why you want to achieve enlightenment for all sentient beings. Yeah, this is also important, because without knowing why, it's it's like a burning fire that can burn, but then you don't have wood in stock, then it doesn't continue to burn. Yeah. If you have one log and you are burning that log and you want the fire to go on and on burning, but you don't have any stock logs, what is it, log, yeah, wood in stock, then you can't continue burning the fire. So that's why it's important. Why? Yeah, why enlightenment? Why do you want to achieve enlightenment? Why you want to liberate all sentient beings? What do you get out of liberating all sentient beings? I think that would also a question that will also pop up. What will I get out of liberating all sentient beings? Yeah, so these, I think, important questions. Second level, if you want peace, looking for joy and peace, then that also same question: why you want peace and joy, and for what reason you want peace and joy. That also, I think, an important question when it comes to, because the thing about Buddhism, which I experience is, and I think this also needs to be promoted, is that uh, everything comes out of question. You read the 84,000 teachings of the Buddha. Any teaching doesn't start, I don't think it starts with Buddha sitting down and saying, okay, today we are going to start with this. Today we are going to start practicing bodhicitta. Today we are going to, no, it doesn't start like that. Every teaching, every single teaching of the Buddha always start with someone asking a weird question. Yeah. Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, that this, all these beings are surrounded, sitting down, and then one of them asks a question. How? Why? And then starts the real teaching, so this is why it's important in Buddhism that you need to be very logical, and Buddhism is extremely logical, I think. Now, keeping aside the traditional, the what we say, the all those the ritual aspect and the traditional aspect of, and the cultural aspect of Buddhism, in regards to how Buddhism came into play after what we say the initial what we say the initial what we say what is this called, the the initial Buddhism going into all these different countries and different places. So other than that, main application starts from there. So so this is again setting up motivation. So always start with that. Even if you are a Buddha yourself, then the first question you ask yourself is that. Okay, again. Yeah. Easier to answer, definitely, but again, that same question comes up. So through all of this, now us human beings, through all of this, my own experience, I think when I come to starting, you always start with yourself. Like I said, you need to learn to embrace yourself, and the embracing yourself has been chopped up into pieces, not just in Buddhism, but also in social life. Yeah, this is where I think what we say, um, validation of others, external validations become so important, because everyone deep inside focusing on themselves. Oh, I, me, and my. Then if I'm focusing on myself and you approach me, then I'm always going to say, oh yeah, I'm first. Right? And you're going to say, oh yeah, you're first. And if 10 people say, oh, you are not the first one, we have to be the first one, then of course the validation, the external validation is going to be stronger. So then I think a lot of people lose their path in regards to not giving themselves enough credit or enough validation in certain points. I think you look at the world, this is what's happening, especially in the newer generation. They can neither focus on themselves because of huge validation, external validation, and they can neither focus on others because they completely lose connection with themselves. Yeah, you see the two. So now you have two extreme what do we say, opposites fighting within yourself, within the mind, within the heart, then I think that's a very chaotic world that you can live in, because you have two extremes. I can't do this one because of this, and I can't do this one because of that. So now, then the pressure grows. Then also the responsibility also starts to grow, and then also a lot of uncertainty, because like I said, two extremes. You can either focus on one of them, you don't know how to balance, and so on and so forth. And then comes stress, anxiety, depression, so on and so forth. And then comes reliance on medical drugs, maybe non-medical drugs, all kinds of alcohol, all kinds of these things. And then of course influence again, because we have validation from external, then also we also have a strong influence from external. And we as human beings, I think the fastest way we learn is we learn through what we see. We learn through what we see and what we hear. So then, therefore, dependence. Once you go into these two extremes, one extreme is then you don't care about anything at all, anyone at all. Yeah, the self-grasping. You say, okay, I forget about all of this. Self-grasping attitude goes over the roof. Then so much pride. Yeah, then you don't have friends, you don't have this, you don't have that. It's a hard life to live. Then the other extreme is you go into depression, you lock the door, you don't want to see anyone, you don't want to hear anyone, you don't want to converse with anyone. That's also another extreme we go into. And once you go into those kinds of extremes, then the problem, I think the main problem comes when your mind starts to decide what are you going to do with those extreme situations. Yeah, then a lot of people, they depend on, like I said, they depend on drugs and stuff like that. A lot of other people, they depend on what do we say, self-deleting, suicide, and so on and so forth. These kinds of concepts, they're all extreme concepts, right? So this is why I think every practice, so that it doesn't go to the extremes, it has to start with what is in existence right now. As mere human beings, the grasping attitude is always there. Whether you want to call it the grasping attitude, or whether you want to call it the self, what we say, self dependence, or self cherishing, or whether you want to call it self confidence. These one, all kinds of different words. But the main thing that changes is how you want to utilize it, that changes things. Yeah. Just as an example I gave earlier, utilization of drugs is the same thing. If you have a problem, if you have pain, then painkiller helps the pain, right? If you have physical pain, like your bone broken and you can't survive, or you have a hard time, what we say, dealing with the pain, then you take medical painkiller, it helps. But then you become reliant, and then your focus is not what do we say, not to help the pain, the physical pain that you have, and you don't have that physical pain, and you have mental pain, and you start to take, then it becomes reliance, and then so on and so forth. And then, so the motivation always helps in that sense, right? So this is why developing motivation becomes important. So um, the aspect of every practice at the beginning, starting with what we already have, which is the grasping attitude, which is the self-cherishing view. We start with that because we already have that. Letting go of it, wanting to destroy it, wanting to, what do we say, um, overcome it, wanting, this one comes slowly. As you practice, it will come, because your validation for others start to grow as well, right? So it needs to come, I think it needs to come naturally in that way. Practice always has to have natural flow in it. If there is an unnatural flow in your practice, then you know that the practice is not right for you. Make sense? So when there's an unnatural flow while you are practicing, if and when there is an unnatural flow, then you stop your practice and you question whether your practice is right or not. uh, when you are trying to develop what do you say, compassion, and anger starts to arise, then you need to start asking yourself whether it's the right method or not. Because we are not here to practice developing anger, we are here to practice developing compassion, and the exact opposite is starting to happen, and so on and so forth. So with every practice, I think the same thing, right? So this is important aspect of motivation. um, and the mindfulness practice also comes through your power to validate things. Mindfulness basically means using the mind, Seshi Rigpa, yeah, clear and knowing, using the tool that is clear and knowing that you have in order to what we say to develop. That is mindfulness, nothing others, right? Mindfulness, using the mind fully, yeah, fully, in the sense, first the mind, which is understanding the mind that it is clear. uh, Especially it's clear, especially when there's joy and there's peace. It's not clear when there's no joy and no peace, right? It's not clear when there's anger. When there's anger, then the mind is not neither clear nor is it aware, right? So first you need to trigger the sense of clear and aware, and that comes through peace and that comes through joy. When there's peace, yeah, I think most of what we are trying to contemplate or trying to work with tends to work out. If you have something to do today and you are at peace and you are, relaxed, then the application tends to work better. Whereas you're frustrated, you're depressed, you're that, you're this, then most things that we need to do in our daily life doesn't go as we want it to go, because then all kinds of external things start to pop up and happen. So first thing, always calm the mind down. Yeah. Last time in the center, I was using calm the hell down. I think that was a little bit harsh. So how can you say calm the hell down in the in what is it, in the Buddhist center? so so maybe not calm the hell down, but calm down. Yeah. Mind calming, the using your ability to be aware and knowing that in nature the mind is clear. So using that logic and understanding to calm the mind down to the sense where, okay, now I'm ready to apply, right? Because the application always need to be ready. Any kind of application it is, especially in regards to practice, whether it be external practice, whether it be internal practice. So the application need to be your mind needs to be ready to apply. Yeah. So through that readiness of application, then comes, I think, the sense of practice. So coming down, number one. Then through coming down, then reasoning and what we say, using our understanding that we have this quality of reasoning and logic. So that is two, understanding your own powers. So because whenever you have a problem, if you have a situation and you need to deal with the situation, what is the first thing you think about? You think about the tools that you have in order to deal with the situation, right? If you have a leak in your house, uh, you don't try to if you go and try to fix the leak with whatever is laying around, like if there's a what we say, a cloth laying around, and you're trying to fix the leak with a cloth, uh, I'm not sure if that leak would be fixed permanently or not, right? So the first thing always coming to mind is, do I have the right tools or not? So same thing with the mental development as well. In the state of mental development, yeah, once your mind is calm and you see the problem very clearly in front of you, then you think, okay, what tools do I have in order to deal with this situation? If you have the knots and the cloths and the whatever you call it, the fixing stuff, the hammer, the nail, then you can say, okay, now I'm ready to fix. Yeah, if you have a broken chair, then most likely you need glue and you need hammer and you need nails. So if you have those tools, then you say, okay, I can fix it now. So utilizing, knowing what you can utilize in order to to confront the situation or confront the problem. So same thing, mental process needs to happen in the same method, in the same means. So once you calm down and then you start thinking about, you start figuring out the situation, then you say, okay, now how do I mend the situation and what tools do I have? So practical level, the basic tools. Yeah, like I said, if you go very specifically, then you know you need very specific tools. But practical level, there's tools that can be utilized in any situation, right? Um, Maybe let's say something like gloves. A glove is a tool that you can use in any situation, whether you're fixing a leakage, whether you're fixing the toilet, whether you're fixing the roof, whether you're fixing whatever it is. And it also protects yourself, right? It protects your hand. So, so something like that, right? So there are, like I said, there are tools in different situations. So in this situation, we are trying to develop a tool that is useful in all situations. So the tools to to incorporate skills and incorporate effectiveness in application of the skills, incorporate enhancements in the skills, and then also incorporate all kinds of different methods of development in this skill is the I think the six paramitas. The reason why I say is the six paramitas, because the six paramitas, the 10 paramitas, are application on a worldly level, on the worldly base application method is there. Uh, in the God realm, also in the God realm, the application of the six paramitas are there. If you go into the path in the ground, okay, uh, in the was Arya path, the 15 Arya paths, the same application is there. The 10 paramitas of the application of the 10 paramitas. Maybe not all 10, and maybe not all incorporated with renunciation, bodhicitta, and the view of emptiness, but again, application is there. Then, if you go one step further and you go into the bodhisattva path, even in the bodhisattva path, there's the 15 paths. Within that, also the application of the paramita is there. Then after the bodhisattva, not after, but within the bodhisattva path, there's also the tenfold path. And within the tenfold path, again, the first path, the second path, Satangbu, we say the first ground, second ground, third ground, fourth ground. All of these grounds, again, the application of the 10 paramitas there. Now, these are all basic compared to enlightenment and Tantra. Now you go into the tantric tenfold tantric paths. Again, the 10 paramitas, application of the 10 paramitas are there. Again, in every step of the 10 tantric paths, or the 10 levels of the tantric path. Again there. Now forget about the tantric path also. Even as a Buddha, we say in the Buddha there's the four, what do you call, the four kayas. Even in the sense of the four kayas, the main source of application within the four kayas is 10 paramita again. So, but then the level of the development of the 10 paramitas is different. Yes, as an enlightened mind, the main development of the 10 paramitas are what do we say, already perfected. Yeah, completely perfected 10 parameters, and these 10 parameters are working in coordinates with the completely perfected three principal aspects of the path. So this is the real application of the enlightened mind. Now in the tantric path, not completely what do we say, not completely perfected. Renunciation, bodhicitta, and the view of emptiness. Not completely renounce, yeah, the grasping attitude. Even in the bodhisattva path, not completely renounced all of these other things. Not completely developed the fully clear understanding, that one depends. In view of emptiness, that depends. I think uh, first three first three levels you have a little bit of problem in regards to full development, but after that is full development. So there again, the 10 parameters are very, very, very important. So basically why I'm saying this is, I'm saying this because the application of the 10 parameters start all the way down from, I think, even from the hell realm. Because if you hear stories of the past great, great Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the path of the past, then there are development of what do we say, of compassion within hell realm as well, willing to go to hell for the benefit of all sentient beings. That in itself is already a clear sequence in how development of bodhicitta can also happen in the hell realm. But then, in order to develop bodhicitta in the hell realm, you need a very, very, very strong mind and a very clear understanding of three principal aspects of the path in general, but also a very strong karmic imprint as well. So someone who has a mind like Gebje Lama Thupten Sopa Rinpoche, I think development of bodhicitta in hell become very, very, very easy for them. But for someone like us, where when we have a headache and we're thinking, oh, I'm suffering the most. Why only me all the time? I'm suffering. I think this is what I don't know everyone, but when I have a problem, like I have a problem in my hand, my head, headache, this, then why only me? Always I have the problem. Everything is falling on all the problems, all the suffering falling onto me always. So when we have this kind of mindset, that a little bit harder because we cannot focus. Yeah, when the pain is there, when the problem is there, then our mind focusing capacity is totally out of the door. So a little bit harder to tell. But when you have a mindset like Captain Lamadundu Zoparimpuche, then you already see, oh yeah, nothing seems to stop them. Yeah. When you have, I'll tell you one story in regards to Gyabje Lama. I think I've mentioned this story uh, in the past as well. Um, uh, it seems like they have completely renounced the concept of physical sense, because their concentration is fully and completely on the bodhisattva level, on the enlightenment level. So for them, the I, the me, the my, the completely gone. So the concept of my body is also completely gone. So one time we were in Gangtok, Sikkim, and you know how Rinpoche is, right? Rinpoche says he wants to start at 3, but then ends up starting at 9. So so this situation happens, and we were supposed to go to this huge Guru Rinpoche statue. Winter time, huge Guru Rinpoche statue. We were planning to go in, I think, midday, when the sun is out and it's warm, and um, but then ended up going very, very late in the evening, I think 6 or something like that. And then Rinpoche decided to do puja there. And it was freezing, like literally freezing. So we said first, I think first 10, 15 minutes, okay, everyone is puffing up, trying to be strong and trying to fight the cold. But then after 15 minutes, everyone very, very cold. Everyone's shivering, their mouth starting to move, their hands starting, their body starting to move like this. And then we had a few, what do we say, foreigners as well. The people were very kind. They brought blankets from the hotel up for the foreigners. So the foreigners were all covered up in their blankets inside their warm, and then we were starting to wearing our hats, and I had a red, I think, a red sweater or something, that I put that on, still freezing. And then I put, as monks we have to wear this thing called zen. So we had the zen, I had the thick zen, the shawl sort of thing, not exactly a zen, but yeah, we use it as a zen. Covered that one, still cold. And Rinpoche in front doing puja, and his hand is out, and his eyes is closed, and nothing is bothering him. And that happened for maybe 3 hours. He sat there 3 hours in the cold, freezing cold, and it was very, very cold. Like, I mean, there were, what do you call that? Ice sickles. On side of the Guru Rinpoche lotus, there were icicles like this. So that's how cold it was. And Rinpoche just sat there, his hands out, is praying, doing, I think we were doing uh, Lama Chapa Puja or something like that, Guru Puja or something like that. And he just sat there 3 hours, nothing, no bother, no cold, no freezing. His teeth didn't move. He was not shivering, nothing. So, so you can develop your mind towards that. And if you have developed your mind towards that sense, then really I think the possibility of of developing, uh, I think for me that there my mind was fully on waiting, looking at the watch, looking at the time, when will it be finished. My mind is already going back into the hotel room, under the blanket, in the warm, drinking warm cup of tea. So there was no regards for others in that sense. But Rinpoche, for other people doing Lama Japa Puja, so the concentration level is, I think, immense. Yeah, there's a huge development there. So, like I said, application of the parameters in that sense, I think, very, very possible if you have that kind of mindset, even in the lower realms of the hell, and in the animal realm also, very clearly in regards to practice of the parameters. I think we have the I don't know what you go in Tibetan we call the Tumbap Mishi, a very, very famous story of the four animals. Maybe you have seen, there's an elephant, then on top of an elephant there's a monkey, on top of a monkey there's a rabbit, and then on top of the rabbit I think there's some say it's a pigeon, some say it's a peacock, I don't know what it is, but a bird. So these again, great, whether it is bodhisattvas manifesting as animals or not, I don't know, but in general sense it already shows that the development of these parameters can happen in the animal realm as well. And I think once I saw on National Geography, there was this story where this leopard took on the responsibility of looking after this small deer baby. What do you call it? Dove, something like that. I don't know, deer baby. So yeah, so there was this story as well. The leopard, after after killing the mother, found out that it had a kid, and then it actually started looking after the small baby deer, protecting it, taking it around and stuff like that. So that story was there. And I mean, there are many, many, many amazing stories of these kinds of developments, potential qualities, development of potential qualities in the animal realm as well. And this one, I think we can see within um, within our own realm as well, right? So that is there. The human realm, of course, the best place to develop uh, all kinds of qualities, because of the uh, beautiful balance. And there's happiness, there's suffering, there's peace, there's chaos, there's that. So it's sort of a balance of both. So you can learn from one and apply the other. So the human realm is generally known to be the best place to develop any kind of quality. There's a lot of debate in regards to whether one can develop compassion in all these different realms. And yes, but then there always comes down to the human realm becoming the best realm to actually develop all of these qualities, because there's a precious human rebirth, right? I think uh, we went through that last session, I think, precious human rebirth. So anyway, so that one is there. Combine this with the understanding of precious human rebirth. I think that is very clearly there. And then through that, after all of that, then you have the demigod and the god realm. Demigod realm, again, little bit chaotic, but still quite applicable of these qualities. And most god realms have not perfected, but do have these qualities. The only problem between the two, hell realm and god realm, I think is two extremes. Like I said, any place where there is an extreme, then it's a little bit hard to apply, right? When there's extreme cold, then our concentration to develop compassion is it lacks. So similar to that, if there's extreme joy, if you are in the jacuzzi, enjoying a glass of what I call martini after just having a massage, and your body is relaxed and your mind is relaxed, then a little bit hard to want to focus on certain beings, because you are what is it, fully engrossed in taking the full enjoyment of that tranquility, right? So so I think something similar to that happens in the god realm as well, where there's uh, tranquility in some sense, or whether karmic conditions have come very strongly, or collected karmic conditions have come very clearly, in the sense that everything is uh, sorry, there's a plane flying over. uh, so yeah, so everything, everything is right, where everything is right, we're in the comfort zone, we, as I like to call it. When you are in your comfort zone, when you are in your comfort bubble, then consideration outside the comfort level, what do you say, they say, what do you say, ignorance is bliss. Right? So you don't want to take in the responsibility to have to contemplate on all of these different things, so that does happen. So anyway, generally speaking, I think this is why the 10 paramitas, I explained the 10 paramitas in the sense as a utilizing tool that can be used in any level of practice and in any situation and any ground, because it's applicable everywhere and everyone applies it, and it's as important as that as well, right? So whether back to the point, whether you are a human being, whether you are a god, whether you are a demigod, whether you are a bodhisattva, whether you are an Arya being, whether you are a Buddha, you already know how important or how useful this tool of the 10 paramitas are. Um, so this is why I think the application of the 10 parameters is important in development. Now, forget about all of the other parts. We come, because we are in the human realm, we come back to the human realm and the sense of human situation. Then all of the things that we talked about earlier, conflicts, situations, whether it be traffic jam, whether it be office situation, whether it be dealing with colleagues, whether it be dealing with friends, whether it be dealing with enemies, whether it be dealing with family, all kinds of different conflicts do come up. And these conflicts come up in the sense from all kinds of different angles, whether it be conflict, financial conflict, whether it be emotional conflict, whether it be conflict because someone was not performing or not living the right ethical means of living, whether it be conflict through not being patient enough, whether it be conflict through not being generous enough, so on and so forth. So these conflicts do come up, and we do face these conflicts on a daily basis, especially if you're working and the level of stress is high, then these conflicts do come up very, 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 what we say, uh, um, um, over and over again. So, Jimba Tsuli Soba Tsundu Samdi Sharap. Jimba, uh, generosity. Yeah. So I think we'll start with that. I think now quite clear why, how, what, right? So now we focus on particularity. Uh, is the time 7:51? 7:51. Okay. So today first we start with generosity, Jimba. Uh, Generosity, I think, in our sense, more normal sense, generosity has a very strong connection with the giving. I think generosity, right? Generous means having the full and having the ability. Once you have full, then having the ability to, generous. So in order to be generous, you need to be able to provide that generosity, right? So if you have time, then you have what do you say, you have if you have abundance of time, then you can be generous with time. um, this is one, I think, misinformation that we have because of our view of permanence. We look at ourselves, we very hardly realize change. We do realize change, but we are not very we don't clearly realize change in the sense of impermanence, because impermanence is very clearly stated as a momentary change. Momentary is also, within the philosophical aspect, momentary is also divided into 60, I think 64 different categories of moment. So they say when you snap your finger like this, then this itself millisecond sort of thing. So 64 milliseconds sort of thing. So momentary change is sort of like calculated in that sense. But because we don't have that kind of realization, and we have a very strong view of non-changing things. Today I look at my cup, yesterday I looked at my cup, tomorrow I looked at my cup, and it looks the same. I don't see much change. So because I don't see much change, therefore the view of permanence starts to kick in. And this is the same thing that happens with our life. So therefore I think for a lot of people, they spend hours and hours scrolling on their phone, uh, using up their time in many, many, many different ways that are not very productive and not very uh, good as well, and not very, what do we say, applicable as well. Um, and then companies learn to utilize that we have the view of permanence, and they tend to utilize that in order to give us, what do we say, a small amount of dopamine, so that we get a sense of joy in meaningless things. So understanding that is also important, because coming back to generosity, I think the first thing that I talked about, generosity of time. So I think practice of generosity comes in the sense that generosity is always, uh, we always calculate generosity in the sense that if we have, then we can be generous. If we don't have, then we cannot be generous, right? If I don't have money, then I cannot be generous with money. Otherwise, I'm going to go into financial problem, right? So generosity is also calculated in our minds in that sense. But generosity, I think, let's not just focus on generosity in the sense that generosity has to come from giving, in the sense of giving, especially in this era where where money is a huge thing. It's always about money, money, money. So if you go to some lamas who are very who I mean, this does happen, if you have not just lamas, I think it's not just in the Buddhist, also in other religion as well, where you have gurus, where you have spiritual teachers and so on and so forth, who have who have strong interest in money. Then they require their students to practice generosity through giving money, more and more money. So this is again, I think, sort of like a misconception of generosity. The purest form of generosity comes in application of practice. This is what I think. Yeah, the purest form of practice of generosity comes in the application of uh, of application, or the practice of um what do we call, hmm short-term memory loss. Keep forgetting words. uh, in the form of practicing uh, qualities such as the 10 parameters. Because generosity, we always have the capacity to think greater, bigger, more effective, more means, right? I think practice of bodhicitta is the greatest form of generosity. Yeah, practice to develop the sense of care, sense of love, sense of providence, not just money, but sense of providence of time, of value, of care, of joy, sharing. Yeah, so these always at the top priority of development of generosity, I think, because you don't just need to give money, you can give your time. You can, I say, even in regards, if you are someone who is in the what we say, in the procedure of practicing generosity, the first practice of generosity is, I think, smiling. Yeah. Smiling towards others is a huge form of generosity, I think. Yeah, this is, I think, one of the best methods of practicing generosity is smiling. It doesn't cost much. Yeah, maybe it causes some muscles. If you have some cheek problem, muscle problem, then maybe some pain here when you're smiling. But most likely, not everyone has that problem. Yeah, some people have what, tooth problem, then they cannot smile. Some people have what we call nerve problem, then they have a hard time smiling. If you are not in that, then yes, generosity can be practiced very openly in the form of giving smiles to others. If you can move your hand and your legs, then hugging, yeah, I think is a good form of generosity also. Giving a sense of care, a sense of compassion, a sense of love is also a very. Now if you have a mouth, then also good words, yeah, sincere, genuine, unconditional words of caring, of sharing, valuable knowledge, and also I think also valuable knowledge, not just in regards to financial advice, not just in regards to all of these other different advices, but also in regards to advice of practice. Also, I think generosity. I would like to think that I'm practicing generosity right now. I'm just kidding. But in the sense, I think it's true. It's valuable. This is the sense, I think. So, and then you can go deeper, and then if you, like I said, then comes more sense of what you have, right? So if you have tons of money, then of course generosity in the sense that you are providing financial providence towards those who don't have. Now again, generosity maybe you can practice generosity giving to someone who has a ton, who has a lot, but then whether that is meaningful generosity or non-meaningful generosity, that you can decide. Yeah, his holiness always says, no, you have to be a bodhisattva, but don't be a stupid bodhisattva. So, practicing generosity important, but practicing stupid generosity is not very important. So also that also you need to take into consideration. It's a sense of validation. Now if you are practicing in the sense of giving, then especially in the sense of giving, then I think community giving is important, because community is where everyone benefits from. If you're thinking about like in the Buddhist, let's talk about the Buddhist circle right here, right now. Thupten Nubuling providing the means and the methods for all of us to connect and so on and so forth. So practicing generosity is towards some community, in sense that it benefits not just you, but it tends to benefit a lot of sentient beings. Uh, or in the sense that it helps in being generous when it comes to what we say, providing means and methods of practice. Now that's okay, again, practicing generosity. So I think if you only understand generosity, then every step you take becomes a practice of generosity. Especially in regards to Gyabje Lama Thupten Zoparinpoche's famous words. What do we say? Eat with compassion, sit with compassion, sleep with compassion, do with compassion, die with compassion. Now, that's such an amazing quotation. The reason why, because it's full of generosity in that. Yeah, like I said, the greatest form of generosity comes in the form of being practicing compassion. So again, it's not just generosity is not just in that sense. So someone who doesn't have anything at all can also practice generosity. Yeah, so don't miscalculate in the sense that, oh, I don't have money to offer to the center, to this, to that, therefore I cannot practice generosity. No, 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 no. Generosity can be practiced in all kinds of different forms. Just like I said, if you have a mind, you can practice generosity through your prayers. If you have a mouth, you can practice generosity through praying or through any kinds of through valuable words, through, if you have knowledge, same thing. So generosity at a basic level, just giving a smile is, I think, also practicing generosity. Now, whether you understand the concept behind that or not, uh, I think for me it's quite clear why it's the form of practicing generosity. But yeah, this is there. But this we are talking on the human level. Once you go into the Arya being level, then generosity, I think, changes, shifts a little bit, and it's more focused on to the practice, right? Generosity of practice, especially in regards to the practice of the, what do we say, the middle scope. I think it's the middle scope. So yeah, practice of the middle scope. Then if you go into the Bodhisattva path, then becomes higher scope. So Bodhisattvas pray to become born as rich kings and rich princes and rich people and rich empires and so on and so forth, because by being that they can helpless countless beings. So this also is there. Yeah. One of the most famous examples of this would be in regards to the prayer of King Ashoka, when in King Ashoka, one of the greatest kings of India, uh, well, Buddhist Dharma kings of India, who transformed in those days India. I think the teachings of the Buddha had already gone down, and there was so many different conflicts and applications of different philosophies happening, and King Ashoka sort of like united all of that. So anyway, we don't go deep into the story, but the application of, of generosity in the sense that uh, in the previous life, when King Ashoka was a small kid and he had nothing to offer to the Buddha, then the Buddha, in the olden days, the monks, they carry the begging bowl, right? So he walking, and he heard, oh, the Buddha is coming here. So what can I offer? What can I offer? I have nothing to offer. I'm very poor. I have nothing. So then they say that he took a handful of what is sand, handful of sand, and with great aspiration, genuine, sincere aspiration, offered it to the Buddha, and made this strong wish to be born as a powerful uh, influencer. Nowadays, you can call influencer. In those days, influencer wasn't in place, so now is those days it was more like what you call a powerful king and so on. So he made that strong wish and offered this handful of sand from the roadside to Buddha. And right motivation, right intention, genuine, sincere, unconditional intention, so on and so forth. These qualities coming together. Then next after that, he was born as King Ashoka. Spread Buddhism all around the world. I think very, very, very big. What do we say? Provider towards the Dharma community. So yeah, so this is also in regards to generosity, right? So there are Buddhas and Bodhisattvas who pray, not Buddhas, but Bodhisattvas who pray to be rich in order to fulfill their practice of generosity. Um, and then also generosity comes in the form of offering as well, not just offering. We have the 5 different offerings. So it can be offering to the senses, it can be offering to all kinds of different. These also, I think, all come in the category of generosity. Now, in regards to the practice of generosity, easy way of explaining, I think every um, every family who's influenced by dharma, always in the family member, even in the kids, they're always saying, the mother and father always telling the kids, oh, if you do good, then you'll receive good. If you do bad, then bad will happen to you, that sort of sense. So I think a lot of people, maybe they practice a lot of generosity, but maybe the motivation is out of greed. If I give money, then I'll receive more money. So you're practicing generosity because of greed. Then maybe I'm sure there's also a benefit to it, but again, whether the motivation is rightly set or not, that one needs to be calculated more precisely. Yeah, and then also in regards to generosity of, oh, I want a better life, I want peace, I want quiet, that's why I want to be generous now. Still debatable. I'm not saying do not practice, because practice again happens in the form that you build consistency, and that builds a chain reaction towards your quality. So practice is there, but then with practice always motivation is important. So the motivation behind it also becomes an important aspect of your practice. Um, I think we are nearing our time today. 6 by 7:45, 8. Is it? What time is it, Dundu? 6:45, 7:45. I have 10 minutes more, 5 minutes more.
8, yeah.
Uh, I need to be precise here. If it's if it's in India, Nepal, I think time not so much. Maybe a lot of you have experience. You come to India and Nepal, and then you tell someone to do something, and they'll say, "Okay, okay, yes, madam, yes, sir, 10 minute, 10 minute," and then that 10 minute turns into 1 hour. But unlike that in the West, I think very, very time efficient, right? Everyone, everything, you're 10 minutes late at work, then your salary gets cut. by 10 minutes. Been influenced by this kind of a concept, then yes, I think this is basically it. Cause and condition. The concept of cause and condition is very clear, that the practice of generosity develops. Um, Good practice of generosity develops into abundance. So this is, of course, this is a clear, very clear consequence of cause and condition, not consequence, but result of cause and condition. But again, another thing is generosity helps in building all kinds of different qualities. Yeah, generosity helps in developing ethical living. Uh, uh, Generosity helps in developing morality and ethics within your own, what do we say, your own merit field. Generosity develops uh, in building equality, right? Generosity builds in helps in building peace. Yeah, one of the reasons why there's not much peace when it comes to countries and all of that is because generosity level is very, very, very low. And even like I said, even if there is generosity, then the motivations are not right behind the practice of generosity within countries, right? One country going to another country, giving them a lot of money because they have a lot of oil. You can start to question whether that they are generous by giving a lot of money, but whether that generosity is the motivation is rightly set or not. So you see all of this. This is conflict, lot of conflict. True practice of generosity actually deflates conflict. So this is again the reason why generosity is important. Then in regards to generosity, I think is not just the other part; it's also yourself as well. Our own self as well. Generosity helps in developing a good relation, which helps our peace. Generosity also helps in building the right kind of mindset, which also helps in development of our own practice, our own, whether it be spiritual practice, whether it be non-spiritual practice, it doesn't matter. Generosity helps in building that as well. Generosity helps also in building growth. And your own generosity, if you look at it, your own generosity in sense also gives you a lot of joy. So you have, if you are a parent, I think, going back to that example as well, if you are a parent and you are generous with your time towards your kids, then you build a very good relationship with your kids, and then they, because the skill development and so on and so forth, and they, and later on, you, what we say, you keep to heart, very closely to heart, the times that you have spent, because those times mean a lot to you, right? So there is also huge self-development in in the practice of generosity as well. Practice-wise, generosity, I think if you are a true practitioner of generosity, you don't need anything, any other practice. I'm going to mention this again. When I was studying, when we were studying the, what do you say, the five major text or whatever, Buddhist philosophy, then every topic is the most important. And you might see a lot of your lamas and gurus and whoever you go for teaching say the exact same thing. When they're teaching bodhicitta, they, oh, this is most important. Nothing compared to the view of emptiness. Oh, this is the most important view. Nothing else is more important. Renunciation, oh, most important. Enlightenment, oh, most important. So every aspect of practice is the most important, and there is a reason behind it. Because if you perfect one practice, then, like I said, you tend to pull all other practices with it. Yeah, so same thing with in regards to generosity. With generosity, you develop, like I said, you develop all of this. You develop patience as well, and then with generosity, you can also develop joyful effort as well. You can also develop your wisdom as well through the practice of generosity. So basically, if you're a true practitioner of generosity, then that's all you need in order to attain the full enlightenment itself, I think. But then, like I said, the practice of generosity has to be qualified enough, in the sense that the motivations have to be right. The practice itself has to be genuine, sincere, and unconditional. Then also, the motivation after the practice also has to be right as well. So with those three things coming together, then I think generosity itself is quite enough to reach the state of enlightenment. But then also a strong sense of joy when it comes to the practice of generosity. So these motivations, these mindsets are another part of why generosity becomes important. But like I said, if you focus only on the pure sense of generosity, then all other practices can be practiced through the practice of generosity. And this is also why, like I mentioned, the practice of the pāramitās, generosity, same, uh, happens on all levels, all the way from hell realm to the animal realm to the hunger realm to the human realm to the demigod to the god realm, and even in the paths, yeah, from the Arya path to the Bodhisattva path to the tantric path, and even on once you have reached enlightenment, generosity also becomes as essential as all other qualities. We're happy with that. So, like I said, no need to take in the idea of having to develop generosity, in the sense that generosity can only be practiced by certain people who have certain things, who can be generous with certain things. Generosity can be practiced in all kinds of different ways, through the five senses, through the, what do we say, through the three different aspects of motivation, through the understanding of through the 12 dependent links of the dependent origination, even through the practice of bodhicitta, renunciation, and what is the view of emptiness. Bodhicitta, just as a normal human being, bodhicitta can be practiced through joy, joy, happiness, sharing, caring, smiling. So anything, right? So it's as easy as you want to make it, and as hard as you want to make it. And how easy you want to make it and how hard you want to make it, that one is totally in your own hands. Yeah. So I think we stop here. Did someone send something? Option cost material for personal use. Oh yeah. So yeah, so that's that. Anything else? Anything else? I forgot to what we say, put into generosity. Uh, okay, good. Any questions? We take one question. If you are not too late, if you are late for work or something, then yeah, you can take leave. Mary has a question. Harry has a question. Ah,
Mary
okay.
has
I think no
Mary has to
questions.
go and do
Yes,
session.
questions?
Mary has to go and do session, Rinpoche.
Mary has to go session. Okay. Okay, we stop. No questions? Anyone, any comment, any question, anything? No? Okay. Good. It's clear as a whistle then. Okay, that's good. Sometimes no question is good. Sometimes no question is not very good. uh, okay. In that case, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed. We'll continue with the other qualities, perfection of qualities in the coming weeks. We have, I think, how many days we have? 1, 2, 3. So we have 3 more sessions in regards to this topic. So they will do that. And yeah. So development of motivation, whatever motivation it is you have in regards to the practice of the 10 paramitas, make it clear, remind yourself of the motivations over and over again. Consistency is important in practice, so keep that again. And like I said, once you find the right way to develop, way to practice generosity, then you keep with it, right? If you but like I said, if you are a beginner, then start small, start with a smile. Yeah. Make the surrounding more joyful, make the surrounding more surround your not the surround your surrounding. Yeah. Make the people in your surrounding more happy. Be more kind to the people in your surrounding. Yeah. So this one, start, I think, start from there. And if you cannot in your surrounding, then I think within your family also, something like that. Small places you can start in regards to practice of generosity. Okay, thank you so much. I hope you enjoy. We continue next week. Okay.